The story begins right where the fire started, in Miss Wanda's kitchen. The woman was just doing what she always does, frying something up, hair tied back, talking to her followers like she's on FaceTime with family. The live was moving along normally until someone dropped that one question that changed everything. Miss Wanda, what do you think about Martell saying he don't owe no child support? She froze for a second. You could see it in her eyes, that pause before something real comes out. Then, with no hesitation, Wanda leaned into the camera and said it plain. Fuck Martell. He ain't won nothing. No child support don't mean you a good daddy. It mean you got a good lawyer. And just like that, the internet broke loose. Within minutes, the live clip was flying across every platform. Twitter had it. Facebook groups were reposting it. TikTok edits were everywhere. People were typing in all caps, tagging Melody, tagging Martell, arguing in the comments. Half the viewers were cheering Wanda on, calling her brave for saying what needed to be said. The other half were rolling their eyes, saying she should stay out of business that ain't hers. But the truth is, Wanda touched a nerve, because what she said, under all the attitude, was something many people already felt. Just because a man doesn't have to pay child support doesn't mean he's some kind of hero. It just means the court made a ruling based on what was presented, and sometimes that ruling doesn't tell the full story. Let's rewind for a second. This didn't start with Wanda's live. It started the moment the court finalized the decision between Melody Shari and Martell Holt. Fans had been waiting on that update for months. Custody, support, boundaries, it all came down to that one moment. When Martell walked out of the courthouse, he looked proud. He started telling people he didn't have to pay child support, smiling like it was a major win. But those who followed the story closely knew it wasn't that simple. The court didn't say he won custody, and it didn't say Melody lost. It simply ruled that at that time, based on both their incomes and parenting time, no child support would be ordered. That's not a victory. That's just the balance. Still, Martell ran with the story. He brought it up during interviews, he hinted at it during lives, he smiled every time the topic came up. I don't pay child support, he said proudly, like it was a medal of honor. And that's exactly why Wanda's words cut so deep, because in her eyes, and in the eyes of many fans, a real father doesn't brag about not having to be told to care for his kids, he just does it. While all this noise was spreading online, Melody stayed silent, as she always does. No live videos, no interviews, no drama, just peace. She posted scriptures, quotes about gratitude, and updates about her business ventures. Every time the internet gets loud, Melody gets quiet, and somehow that silence speaks louder than anything else. Fans know her pattern by now. When she posts something like, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper," everybody starts decoding the message. They know who it's about, even when she doesn't say a name. Melody doesn't waste her breath fighting online battles. She's learned to let her success do the talking. But Wanda, she's built different. A few days after her first live blew up, she went live again. This time, sitting outside, hair done, looking straight into the camera. Someone in the comments asked, "Miss Wanda, you gonna apologize to Martell?" Wanda leaned into the camera and said it plain. Fuck Martell. He ain't called Melody everything but a child of God. If he can run his mouth, I can run mine. You could tell she meant it. She wasn't trying to be messy. She was just tired of watching the same man spin the same story. He lucky that lady don't drag him in court again, because if it was me, he'd be paying child support and gas money. The comments exploded. People laughed, people clapped, and people argued. Wanda might not always be polished, but she's real, and that's why folks keep tuning in. She says what many are thinking, but are too afraid to say out loud. Of course, Martell wasn't going to stay quiet after that. The very next day, he went live too. His tone was calm but defensive. You could see the tension behind his smile. You know, people always want to talk when they don't know the facts. I take care of my kids, always have. I don't need no judge telling me what I'm supposed to do as a father. He talked about haters, about lies, about people trying to twist narratives. But deep down, everyone watching could see it. He was bothered because when Martell feels attacked, He talks faster, his voice gets louder, and he starts repeating himself. He wanted to sound unbothered, but he wasn't. This whole situation became bigger than just Wanda and Martell. It turned into a reflection of something deeper, the meaning of winning. For Martell, winning seems to be about image, looking successful, sounding strong, proving a point. For Melody, winning is peace. It's silence, growth, and moving on with grace. For Wanda, winning is truth, saying what others won't, even if it causes chaos. And that's why the audience is so divided. Everyone sees a different kind of victory. But as time goes on, it's becoming clear who's actually moving forward and who's still stuck in the past. Love and Marriage Huntsville might not be filming every day, but the drama never stops. The cast doesn't even need cameras anymore. Social media has become the new stage. Every live, every post, every comment turns into a storyline. Fans follow it like it's another season of the show. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. After Wanda's second live went viral, fans started asking if there was something deeper going on. Maybe some behind-the-scenes tension between Wanda and Martell. Maybe Martell said something off camera that pushed Wanda over the edge. Because her reaction didn't sound random, it sounded personal. Let's be honest, Martell's pride has always been his biggest weakness. Even when he's right, the way he says things ruins the message. If he had simply said, "The court decided both parents share responsibility," nobody would have argued. But when he turned it into, "I don't pay child support," it sounded bragging, and that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, especially women who've been in Melody's shoes. Wanda's words hit home because they came from experience. She's seen men like Martell before, proud, loud, and quick to spin the story. So when she said, "Fuck Martell," it wasn't just shade, it was a sigh from generations of women tired of watching the same story repeat. The conversations online reflected that. People weren't just gossiping, they were debating real issues. What does it mean to be a good father? Why do some men celebrate not having to pay child support instead of celebrating their kids' happiness? Why do women like Melody get criticized for protecting their peace? That's when the story became bigger than just reality TV. It turned into a mirror, showing how pride, pain, and ego can blur the line between love and control. But still, Wanda wasn't done. In another live, she went even further. Every time Melody do good, here come Martell running his mouth. That lady moved on, got her peace, got her kids straight, and he's still talking about her check? Boy, go get your own. That line went viral instantly. Go get your own. Simple but powerful, because at the heart of it, that's what this entire situation is about. Melody built something for herself after being torn apart publicly. She rebuilt her life from the ground up. And instead of celebrating that, Martell keeps finding ways to stay attached to her name. His recent court filing even mentioned that Melody still receives payments from the show, even though she's not listed as a producer anymore. Fans saw that as proof that Melody's business sense is strong. She made sure her hard work still pays off. But Martell's tone made it sound like he wanted to prove she didn't need anything from him financially. That's when fans realized he's playing a game of perception, trying to win a public argument instead of winning peace. And every time he does that, it backfires. Because no matter what Martell says, the pattern is always the same. Melody focuses on growth, Martell focuses on control, and Wanda, she focuses on the truth, no matter how messy it sounds. After her viral rant, someone asked Wanda if she thought Martell would clap back harder. She laughed and said, "Baby, he can say whatever he want to say. I said what I said. I don't bite my tongue for no man that disrespected his wife and think it's cute." That's classic Wanda, unapologetic, raw, and fearless. She might not always have perfect words, but she has real ones. Meanwhile, Letitia Scott, Wanda's mother, stayed quiet this time. Fans noticed. Maybe she's tired of being dragged into her mother's drama. Maybe she's just trying to keep the peace, because every time Wanda says something bold, Letitia ends up dealing with the fallout. But even silence speaks, and her silence this time told fans she wasn't trying to be in the middle of this storm. Other cast members had their say too. Stormy dropped the laughing emoji when a fan asked her about Wanda's live. Light, playful, staying out of it. Kimmy, on the other hand, was more serious. When asked privately about the situation, she said at some point, everybody needs to let them handle their business privately. Kids are involved. It's too much. And honestly, Kimmy's right. It is too much. But that's the reality of being in the public eye. In Huntsville, nothing stays private for long. Still, beyond the mess, there's a real message in all of this. Wanda's generation sees life through a different lens. To her, a man bragging about not having to pay child support is not impressive. It's immature. To her, real men don't need the court to tell them to be fathers. They just show up. They provide, they protect, they stay consistent. That's why Wanda's words connected with so many women online. In her comment section, thousands of viewers wrote messages like, "She said what needed to be said," and finally, somebody called him out. Of course, not everyone agreed. Some people defended Martell, saying the court system isn't always fair and that we don't know all the details. But even those people had to admit Martell's pattern of behavior keeps him in the same